Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Creative Corner. And as you can see, we're in another different location. We're actually in my office here in the Gold Coast. And my guest today is Joseph Fagarazzi, the author of Escaping My Demons. And he's right over on the other side of the country in WA. Joseph, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Ocean.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we're going to have a bit of a chat today about your book and about yourself. And let's kick it off with who are you? Who is Joseph? Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Well, my name is Joseph Fagarazzi, the author of Escaping My Demons. I'm 71 years of age. I'm a retired businessman and living in WA, Perth.
Now, you've got a very personal book here. You've got something that's quite confronting for you to write, but also for people to read. Tell us what Escaping My Demons is about.
Okay, Escaping My Demon is about myself. When I was born as a baby boy, I was born to teenage parents in 1951. The boy grew up as an unwanted child, and the father wasn't happy about that, obviously. The father was very physical with the boy as he grew up. He was an aggressive, womanizing father, and always made me understand that I wasn't welcome and that was the biggest mistake that he's ever made in his life. So this is how I was brought up. So basically, what I'm trying to put out the story out there, and let them know that even though you've been brought up this way, you can overcome these things with the right mindset and move on with your life.
Can I ask, when you say aggressive, that can be interpreted in many ways. Are we talking physical violence, or was it domestic violence that you grew up with?
I was mentally and physically abused by my father. I used to get belted around all the time for some reason or other. He was a very complicated man, very moody. He was a very unhappy soul, and you never knew what his moods were like at the time. So he might go to work happy and come back in a different mood altogether.
Do you think, did you ever find out, or is it in the book, as to where that could have come from for him?
No. He's always been like this. In fact, he never even got along with his sibling. There was about 9 siblings, and he was always the one that never got on with the rest of the family. For some reason, they couldn't understand it. They used to joke around. They used to say that he wasn't really part of the family, that their parents must have found him outside the church, the step of the church in Venice, because he was so different from all the others. He was a dominating type of person, very hard to get on. Everybody tried, but they just couldn't.
Which like I'm asking the questions to kind of get an insight into that dynamic, because like for me personally, I've never come from that background. I do know people that have, and you always try and ask, why would you do that? Why would you, especially to a child, why would you behave in that way? But where did the idea for you to write a book came from? What prompted that? Why do you want to write the book?
Okay, the idea, I was very unhappy. I was very depressed at the time. And my parents obviously immigrated here. They wanted to come over, and I don't want to tell you too much about the story, otherwise they're not going to buy my book. But they eventually immigrated to Australia. And there was nothing but arguments between myself, my father, my mother. And it got to a stage that it was really affecting me mentally. It was affecting my business, and it was affecting my personal life as well. One day after an argument, I just came home and I thought to myself, God, I can't believe this is happening all over again. So I sat down at the table, put pen to paper, and wrote myself a five-page letter. And in the end, what I did was I froze it. I put it in the freezer for 11 years, not realizing that I was going to write a book in 11 years from now. And the whole idea was to freeze them out of my mind once and for all. Nice. Basically close the book and start a new chapter. And that's what happened.
Wow, I've never heard that before. I've been doing this like over 2 decades, and I've never heard that before. But such a powerful, moment for you to put that in the freezer.
Yes. Well, I thought it was over, but obviously it never was.
And did you find that, what did you find through writing? Did you actually get that cathartic feeling through writing, or what else happened?
It helped me at the end of the book. When I started writing it, I realized that my mind, my way of thinking was different. It cleared my mind. It was, it helped me get over all the issues and problems I had. And at the end of it, I just felt that the weight on my shoulder was no longer there. The hate and the grudges that I had towards my family and my father, it just came at a stage that I thought to myself, you know what? I don't care about this anymore. I'm not getting involved with you people. I don't want you in my life. I want you out of my life once and for all, and I want to get on with my life, not involve you in it. And that's what I did. And I think it was the best thing I've ever did, just moving away from them.
Oh,
It
look,
was hard to do. It wasn't easy, but I managed to do it.
I'll tell you what, I mean, we're going to talk about the feedback that you've had and some of the successes that you've had since releasing the book in a minute. But one of the things that I love about bringing stories to life is that it can inspire and create positive change in the world. And you always look, and you would remember this right back in the beginning when we started this journey. I would have asked you, now, what's the vision that you have for this when it's all dead and you're finished and you're out there? And to think that there's closure in a situation like this, where somebody of your age group has written their book, has got it out there, and found that kind of inner peace, that's better than all the reviews in the world.
Yes. Well, my other goal now, since I've found my inner peace, I want to pass it on to other victims that are out there that don't know what to do and how to go about it. Because really, there is a way of doing it. And if all they have to do is just change their mindset. And it's all in the mind, really. Before, if your mind is not set right, you're always listening to that little voice in your head, and it's demeaning, and you just listen to it without really realizing that you can do more. And if you stop listening once and change your mindset, you just move on with your life and just think of another way out. We all have problems in our life, some more than others, and you just got to realize and just move on.
Oh, that's really sound advice. And I guess our personal experiences that help define us to a degree, but then unpacking those experiences and deciding what you're going to take away from that is really what kind of sets the tone of your life and your life journey. And we all go through some kind of trauma at some point in our lives. It's inevitable.
Yes.
What shape that takes and how that impacts us, it's an unknown. But you're right. How we then approach it mentally is the next step on the decisions that come after that. And I'm looking at the certifications on your wall. I can't read all of them, but I did, and I said this before we started the interview. That's a black belt behind you there. So obviously there's been some great successes in your life too, Joseph.
I guess with all this drama, I believe that my parents didn't do any harm. In a way, they did me a favor because it made me fight, and persist. And you got to be persistent because you can't give up. If you fall, you just got to get up and dust yourself down and move on. And that's what it taught me. I think when we have traumas in our lives, I think we have to learn from them. We have to learn from them. So, it's good to never forget the past, but we got to learn from the past.
That's right. That's what I was saying before. It doesn't define who you are. Your decisions do. So let's go back to the book. Let's go back to the publishing journey. You've worked with the team here at Ocean Reef Publishing and bringing your book to life. How did you find that? What did you learn?
I worked with the greatest team ever.
Oh, thanks, my friend.
Joshua was fantastic. He was very patient with me. He said I've changed a lot in my journey, and I believe I have. my way of thinking is different now. I seem to be. I mean, I was always an optimistic person, never pessimistic. But since writing this book, my journey has made me more motivated than ever. You know, so I'm very happy with that.
I'm pleased, mate. I'm pleased. I mean, I was on a call before we started today, talking to a new author, and he's about to enter into the process, and he was asking questions about what it's like. And I said to him, we've got a really good process, and it works, but we've got to be flexible because every author is different. And when you introduce that human element into a journey like this, into a process like this, and you're too regimental or rigid, you'll find that that could cause issues. So to hear that you've grown from that, and that's great feedback for me, for Josh, and for the rest of the team. So one of the questions I have here is about who the book is aimed at. Now, earlier you mentioned that one of your goals for the future is to get it to other, potential survivors.
Victims, yes.
Yeah,
My book is aimed at victims of similar circumstances. So basically, it's to help them start believing in themselves and become survivors. No more to start thinking as a victim, because it's all in the mind, and they have to do it themselves. They can't wait for someone else to do it. If nothing changes, I've always said nothing changes, and you got to get out there and do it, because no one else is going to do it for you. And it's pointless sitting around in the chair sulking all the time, because that's not going to help you either. It's just going to bring you back further down. So change your mindset and move on. Start thinking positively.
I like that. And look, it's a great mission statement is to get, like, as you can see behind you, to inspire positive change in the world. I mean, it's great to have that guidance behind why you get up every morning to do what you do creatively.
Absolutely.
But as an author and as a publisher, to be able to change people's lives for the better, I mean, it's one of the greatest feelings ever. And you think, okay, it's a selfless act to give people tools to improve their life. But there is a selfishness to it, because it makes you feel wonderful that you've achieved that.
It does.
And, that's awesome. So let's go to the feedback. Like, you and I have been back and forth over the past few months, posting reviews on your website, and
yes,
pretty epic, Joseph.
I think I've been annoying a lot of people.
Nah, not at all, because I read every one of them that comes in. So share some of it. What's the feedback been since you've been published and released the book?
It's been fantastic. I don't know how many books, but I've lost count so far. And please, anybody out there, don't stop, carry on doing it. No, I got in touch with through Facebook with some of my schoolmates in England as well, and I've joined their group, and I've joined a couple of other groups as well, book groups and so on. And I got in touch with people with newspapers, the Heralds, the radios as well. So I've been pestering everybody, because I thought if I don't do it, no one's going to sell it for me. I mean, what we're doing so far has been great, but there's got to be other ways that you can try. And so once the book is out, it's just going to sit there in Amazon. I just needed a way of trying to get it out there. And what I did was also I got in touch with a few people that I contacted on Facebook, and I sent them a PDF copy of the book to about 20 of them, with the conditions that if they would send me an honest review back to me. So I got about 15 of them back. So some of them will probably not even read it, or not even bother to, but this is what I did, and I'm very happy I did that. So I got some good responses.
Look, I love what you said about taking that action as an author to get it out there, and
yes,
and you do need to own your story. And well, a long time ago when I was in traditional publishing and in trade publishing, the publishers do the marketing. I saw so many gaps there where the author would have filled brilliantly, and it's that ownership over their story that they needed to take to get to the next level. So to actually see that kind of drive and momentum is happening for our authors is so good. And you've got another radio interview coming up, am I correct?
I have, yes. Darlene called me last week. Apparently she had a fall and broken her shoulder, So we had to delay that. So probably sometime next week or the week after. But I did ask for a copy of the first interview as well as the second one. So I guess once this is done, I'll send one over to you,
Yeah,
if that's
absolutely.
okay. Yep.
We'll put them up on the website because it's very important that future readers of your book get an opportunity to look at those reviews and have a listen
Yes.
to,
Yes.
like interviews like this, and find out the who, what, why behind why you did this book and what you want to
Sure.
achieve with it. So what's next?
One thing, if I may, I
Yeah,
forgot to mention that. Sorry to interrupt you,
all right.
Ocean. The book itself that you've asked me, who's my target? Who am I targeting? The
Yeah,
book is also for the biased parents to recognize and realize the hurt they're causing their children as well. Because I wouldn't be here otherwise if it wasn't for my biased parents. It's all very well trying not to be biased, but sometimes you can be biased. But to be biased on purpose and hurting your other child purposely, that is wrong,
yeah,
and that's very harmful, and it affects them for the rest of their lives.
yeah.
So, if you want to be biased, that's fine, but don't show it to the other child, and spend some time with both these children, because that's the way to get to know your child, really.
Look, the family dynamic, hey, it's always going to be. There's never going to be a perfect way to raise your kids. Yeah, I mean, I've got 4 children and I've got 4 grandchildren. And believe me, the amount of mistakes I've made, I could write a book. But I think there's never going to be a perfect way to do it. And much like I said before about authors, every author's different, every child is different, and they need to be respected on their own values and own merits because they're an individual, and you want to allow
Yes,
their
yes,
individuality to be nurtured and growing. So I commend you 1,000% that you're taking such a strong and powerful stance on doing your best to improve that family dynamic. I think that's amazing, Joseph.
thank you.
What's
It,
next for you as a writer? What's coming up in the future? We got another book in here. What's going on?
well, I've started writing a 20 page, but I'm not going to freeze that one. I'm going to keep it in the on the shelves for a while. It's a basically motivational sequel for the victims, to give them pointers. So how I'm going to go about it, I'm not quite sure, but I'm writing down all these ideas. So basically, this is what I would like to do, because if I would have had a book like this when I was having these issues, I think it would have helped me out, because I never really went to a psychiatrist or psychologist to help me out. I did it all on my own. And I would really suggest other people to go and see a professional if they have issues like I had.
Look,
So,
I'm supportive of that as well. I think that the mental health system is in place for a reason. In saying that, along with it, it is so helpful for people
yes,
that are in these situations to have stories and connections and tools that are relatable. So, yep, you could sit in front of a psychologist or
yep,
a psychiatrist, and that has its value. But sometimes it's good to hear and speak to other people that have been through that themselves.
yes.
And it's powerful, isn't it?
Well, the reason I've started doing that is because a couple of the readers that purchased my book have asked me if I have any intention of writing another book. So I thought about it, but at this stage, it's gone global. I don't know if you know that, but it's gone global
I
to
do.
about 5 or 6 different countries.
Yes,
So I'm just loving it, and yes, I'm very happy with that.
you should be. It's done remarkably well. I'm very pleased with it myself. So look, I wanted to ask you: is there a passage in the book you'd like to read out today for the people that are listening and watching this at the moment?
Yes, I highlighted the chapter is a small chapter here is about legacy. And okay, here we go. Reaching the final pages of my memoir, I came to a final conclusion as to what a legacy really means to me. I had always thought that the meaning of a legacy was to leave something behind for your loved ones once you were gone, and I always assumed it was all about materialistic things. I was wrong. Thinking it through, I realized that there is more to this subject than I previously thought. Legacy is also about how we lead our lives on this earth and the mark we leave behind once we're gone. It's about the goodness that you brought to this world. I'm getting very emotional, sorry. While living in it, and the progress you've made trying to be the best you possibly can, with the hope that you have finally made your mark by demonstrating that your children, grandchildren, and the people that you love and care can be proud of you.
Wow. Well.
Sorry about that.
You have nothing to be apologetic for. That was amazing. And it was such a really profound insight. And I'm so pleased that's what you decided to read out to the people that are watching this today. And
Thank you.
mate, I do commend you immensely for the journey you've gone through to bring this book to life, the effort that you are putting into the marketing and promotion. There's a lot other authors can learn from you. Look, I want to thank you so much for taking your time out.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my friend.
I have to say, I'm surprised that I can actually talk to you.
I'm a real
on
person.
The screen.
Would you believe it? I actually am a real person.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for listening.
You're absolutely.
And thanks for your help.
Now, everybody that's watching this, as you can see, there is a link on the bottom of the screen that will take you directly to Joseph's website. Go and read those reviews, have a look at his interviews, check out the site, and most importantly, buy the book. And if you know anybody else that may be in a situation of domestic violence of any kind, obviously alert the authorities or get the professional help that they need if they are in danger. And if you feel that there is somebody that's come out of that situation and needs some guidance, hey, look, here's a book, Escaping My Demons by Joseph Fagarazzi, that could be of benefit. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on The Creative Corner.